In our last update, which was right there on Tuesday, we had just seen the fake out above Monday's highs. However, personally, I still wanted to see higher prices. My first target was around $93,800, and my second one was this resistance area around $96,000. And if we go over to the charts, as you can see, after having seen Monday highs SFP, we did continue higher as expected into resistance, which did offer a first rejection, but right now Bitcoin is moving higher and potentially in the process of putting in a sideways range before giving us the next move. So with that said, as usual, before we dive into the price action and what you can potentially expect next, let me quickly recap what I did. So honestly, it wasn't much. I was just waiting for higher prices as mentioned, even though we did get the SFP of Monday's highs with a rejection. Personally, I still wanted to see higher prices. We got higher prices. I was mainly waiting for the wickless open of the daily candle to get tapped. We did have two early imbalances on Binance, so I took an aggressive short position right around the highs. However, price was taking a bit too long in my opinion to reject. You're getting another test of the highs, so at this point personally I did decide to close my short position pretty much for a break even trade, right? Entry price at 93.6, exit price at 93.6. And the reason for that was just because, as mentioned, I didn't like the price action and it did look like people were chasing the shorts. And as you can see, by the way, even though I was very bearish on the higher time frames, there was no need to chase the short positions. I just took one short, as you can see from my exchange, and I instantly closed it at break even. After this, I didn't do anything, even when it got a rejection of our resistance with a very nice wick. Personally, I didn't want to trade this because my thought process was that if we were forming a bull trap, we did need to spend a bit more time up here. So right there, I believe that we needed more time above $94,000. So the next day we had a bit of a support below, but this didn't end up getting reached. And after this, I didn't do much, just took one short position around this area, which ended up as a break-even trade. And right now I'm being patient for the next big trade to come. So with that said, what can you expect next? Is this a fake out, as we've been talking about for a very long time, or is this an actual strong breakout and you will see continuation to the upside? Well, to answer this, it will be pretty simple in my opinion. Right now, we can remove that resistance because it's not useful anymore in my opinion. We can go on the daily chart and we do have a daily imbalance up here that has had a decent close. So this candle will be extremely important to hold as support. What will we do? We take the open of this candle around $95,300. Go on the 12-hour chart. We also have a 12-hour imbalance and a 12-hour order block. So I will take this area. And this would be my big support to hold in case we want to see higher prices. So going back on the lower time frames, we have a 4-hour order block. Can make it a bit smaller if you want. So this would be my area. Pretty much from 94.7 to 95.2, you can call it. That will be my big support area. And with this outlined, everything is very simple in my opinion at this point. If Bitcoin wants to go higher, we could of course get the retest of this area. So let's go on the lower time frames. We could get the retest of this area before going higher. So maybe something like this, and then we go higher. In this case, of course, I will be interested in opening a long position. However, if we do indeed drop towards the support and we lose it, then this would be a first massive sign of weakness. And at this point, you can start looking for shorts for a reversal much lower. Now, if you want to be a bit safer, you can wait for our initial resistance around 93.8 to get lost, because as you can see, it acted as a very good resistance once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. So if price not only loses the daily imbalance and the 12-hour order block, so if it not only loses this and then we drop back below the resistance, so we fail to flip it as support, then at this point you can look for very confident short positions once again for reversal much lower. And at this point, your first and only target will be back below this low at $80,000. Okay, guys. So with that said, a pretty simple update. Now there is one thing for the mindset that I do want to outline. It's not because you're bearish that you have to chase the shorts. As you can see, personally, I have been very bearish on the higher time frames. However, I only took one short position and I closed it at entry. And since then, I haven't taken any other short position. And the only reason that I am not in a long is not because I was bearish, but it's because my support at 88.7 got front run. As you guys know, I was heavily interested in opening a long position because I wanted to see the quarterly pivot right above us tapped. Let me mark it out. So we had the quarterly pivot at 95,000 that I wanted to see tapped. So once again, the only reason that I'm not in a long position is because I got front run. And even though I am still bearish, I'm not going to be chasing the short positions. If we drop into support around $95,000 and we get a good reaction, then personally, I will be interested in opening a long position for a move higher in the charts. However, on the other hand, if we drop and lose my support, but then also lose the resistance, so the previous resistance around 93.8, then I can look for a very confident short position, and still this would offer us a drop towards the low of about 15%, which will be a massive move to the downside. Okay, guys, so I wanted to keep this update as simple as possible. If you're confused if this is a breakout or fake out, all you have to do is be patient. You have one support and you have the second one if you want to be even safer for the sign of weakness. For myself, this will be a long position if it offers support. On the other hand, if we drop lower, then we can look for the short positions somewhere below $94,000, which wouldn't be a problem because this still would offer us a massive drop to the downside back below $80,000. And so with all of that said, as usual, if you guys enjoyed this update, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.